How does someone go from the United States Marines to law enforcement to raising over $400,000 in private money and building real, predictable passive income? And more importantly, how do you do it without being born rich, without a massive audience, and without waiting 30 years to retire? Welcome to Raising Private Money. I'm your host, Jay Conner. Today's guest is William Parmer. And his story matters because it is real. William didn't start with connections or capital. He started with discipline. He found real estate during the pandemic, took action fast, and built a portfolio that now produces over $4,000 a month in passive income. Since then, he's acquired a mobile home park, launched a profitable handyman business, became a coach with Master Passive Income, and he co-hosts the Breakthrough Investor podcast, all while raising hundreds of thousands of dollars from private lenders. Now, in this episode, we're breaking down exactly how William raised the money, what convinced people to say yes, and how everyday investors can follow the same playbook. You're going to meet my guest, William Parmer, right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
William, welcome to the show.
I'm super excited to be here, Jay. Looking forward to sharing my story and hopefully inspiring your audience.
Wow, I can't wait to hear it. Now, I want you to take us back to the beginning of when you started raising private money. What was it that gave you the confidence to go raise private money before you had some kind of like massive track record?
Well, it basically, like most people, I kind of ran out of money. So that's where most of it started. But going back to the beginning, and I'll kind of bring you into how I got there. But I was prior military, went into law enforcement, and the pandemic hit, and I couldn't do my job. Couldn't stop cars because we were so concerned about how fast this virus would grow. And so I ended up finding a podcast, and from there ended up buying a house out of state that I've never seen. And still, I only recently sold it actually. But in doing so, I realized I had enough money for one property, of course, after buying it. And I wanted to scale faster, and just realized I was going to have to wait a long time to build up that capital in which to do that. And at the coaching program I became a part of, which is Master Passive Income, we talk about one of the things that was talked about multiple times is private money and how to raise that and where to find it. And so the private money actually came from just people that I knew. And that's kind of really the best source for starting out with private money, and you can grow it from there.
Yeah. So really your confidence was generated by need.
Pretty much. Yeah. I did the one house, and I wanted to get one under my belt so I could say, here's the system and the process that I'm gonna do these properties with. And once I had one, I sat down with somebody, and the way that I found this guy was very interesting. I just reached out to some people that I knew and said, I'm looking to acquire capital, and I'd like to meet people that would lend on real estate specific. I'm not going to put it in stocks, bonds, anything like that. I'm not really interested in that. It's fascinating, but I'm not interested in it. And one friend was like, well, I know a guy, let me reach out to him. And I want your audience to understand, if you know somebody with money, don't just tell everybody you know somebody with money, right? Don't give out their name and their phone number. Protect their identity, because they don't want their doors being busted down. So he reached out on my behalf, and the guy agreed to have coffee with me. And I remember we had a cup of coffee. It was about 15 minutes. And by the end of it, he said, so do you want a $250,000 check now or later? And I, of course, threw my hands up. I was like, whoa, 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 house first, money later. And ended up, he actually helped me buy my first deal with private money, which ended up being a very small mobile home park that I still own, and it's producing really good money now. I've had it for a number of years.
That's great. So let me see. Let me unpack what you just said. So you're having coffee with this guy. So really, one of those first conversations with a potential private lender came from someone that you reached out to, told them what you were looking to do. Then they introduced you to somebody that they know. Now, when you had that initial coffee conversation and he's offering you $250,000, did you have a deal yet? Or were you just talking about how private money would work and you're going to come back with a deal later?
More the latter. So I didn't have a deal at that time. And with private money, what I was focused on was not going to somebody and say, here's the money I want to borrow from you. I approach it like a relationship. These people are individuals as well. And they want to, what are the things that I thought about? Well, if somebody was going to come to me and want to borrow money, how would they do it? What would I appreciate? And ultimately I came down to, I would really want to trust and know this person. So I was really focused on building the relationship with this individual. And my credibility came from just the one flip, and he was very happy with it. And fortunately for me, he actually knew of my family at the time. And my family is super solid. We always pay back whatever we borrow, and we have a good reputation in our area. And so he was more inclined to lend me money because of that.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that you had this conversation without a deal attached to it. And that's what I have done ever since I started raising private money, all the way back in 2009. I've never gone to a potential private lender in my own network. And of course, we're not talking hard money. We're not talking institutional money. We're talking one-on-one transactions with just ordinary people that have what I call lazy money. They want to get a higher rate of return safely and securely. And one thing that drives me crazy, now I'm going to take a little risk here, William. I'm going to take a little risk. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but then we'll see where it goes from there. So, have you ever heard the real estate guru on stage tell real estate investors, newbies primarily, they'll say something to the effect of, oh, just get the deal under contract. The money will show up.
Oh, yeah. Heard that many times.
Well, that's the most stupid thing in my life I ever heard. I mean, for goodness, and have you also heard them say, oh, money finds good deals?
I don't know if I agree with that one necessarily. There's a lot of deals you could spend money on that are not good deals.
Well, the thing of it is it just seems so potentially stressful to me to go negotiate a deal, real estate deal, single family house, whatever, get it under contract, and you don't know where the money's come from, right?
It could definitely be very, very stressful. The one thing that comes to mind with that, and this would be really good to build your network, but I'm sure you've heard the old adage, your net worth or your network, excuse me, I am all screwing this up. Your net worth is your network. So it's based on who you know, and you build those relationships. But I think I'm a lot like you, where I really want to have the capital available, know, hey, this person likes lending on this kind of stuff. These are the people I want to call for this deal, and be able to bring a deal after I've built that relationship and that rapport. To me, I'm more comfortable with that. And as an individual, if somebody said, I want to spend your money on this thing, it's like, well, we just met.
Yeah.
Right. So I would much rather build.
I mean, you haven't even been on a date yet. You know?
Right.
And so the attitude that I take, William, is I take the attitude of when I'm starting to build these relationships, I take the attitude and the mindset of being a teacher, private money teacher. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm only looking to add value and give some education to people that have not even been exposed to this world. So I've got 47 private lenders. Not one of them had ever heard of private money until I shared it with them. None of them had ever heard of self-directed IRAs and how they can take existing retirement funds, move that over to a self-directed IRA company, no tax penalty. And then the interest we pay them is either tax deferred or tax free. That they haven't been exposed to any of that. And in my opinion, if you're talking about this world of private money and the opportunity, and somebody's never heard of it, I mean, for goodness sakes, I never heard of it till 2009 because I didn't have a need, right? And I'm talking about a deal. Well, I'm already sounding desperate. I'm talking
Absolutely.
about this opportunity. I'm talking about a deal, and I'm sounding desperate when I'm not even, trying to sound desperate, if you will. And so as a result, I've never pitched a deal. I teach them the underwriting criteria, which we get to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We set the interest rate that we're offering. It's not a negotiation. Here's the opportunity. I've been paying my private lenders 8%, no points since 2009.
Now that's
Same
a great
program.
deal. I don't know anybody listening who doesn't know that's a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's same program, right? All these years, or same opportunity, and they know how they're going to be protected. So when I've got a deal for them to fund, I just call up who's next in the queue that I paid off from a previous deal. And I give them the good news phone call, the good news script. And I tell them only 4 things. I say, I got great news for you. I got a deal under contract in Newport, North Carolina. After repaired value is $200,000. Funding required is $150,000, which matches up to what you got. Closing's next Wednesday. You need to have your funds wired to my real estate attorney's trust account by next Tuesday. I'll have them email you the wiring instructions. There's no selling, there's no begging, there's no pitching, because they know I'm not going to bring a deal for them to fund unless it matches the criteria of the underwriting and how the deal works. I mean,
Right.
I know that makes sense to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You've taken the time to build that rapport and that trust, so that way you can have a single phone call with somebody. And then I'm sure you've probably experienced this, where you get done with the quote unquote business side of stuff. And then you have well, how's your wife and your kids? How's your family? What are you doing for Christmas? Where are you going for Thanksgiving? Like that kind of stuff. It turns into more of the catching up, seeing how everybody's doing kind of thing, which I really, really enjoy. I really like people. And I think people are absolutely fascinating, very interesting. Always love to hear what they're doing. So my thing is, yeah, I want to do the deal, whatever deal that is. But I also I'm in the long run, people are more important than any kind of deal you can have. And
Sure.
it sounds like you've built that rapport and that reputation, and that's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, the most valuable asset any of us has are relationships.
Absolutely.
You can't put a value. I mean, there's no way that you can actually put a value or determine, okay, there's the value of that relationship. Now, in my mastermind groups that I'm in, I run my own mastermind, et cetera. I can track. I've been very involved in Business Networking International over the years, gotten millions of dollars from being involved in Business Networking International and getting referrals from people. I can track how much money's been referred to me by a particular person or by a particular person that's actually investing. But the value of a relationship really can't be measured in dollars, in my experience.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And
Now, you have invested in different types of real estate asset classes, one of which you mentioned is the mobile home park. So why invest in mobile home parks? And what do most real estate investors really misunderstand about the mobile home park asset?
oh man, both are or the last one is almost a loaded question, but we'll start with the first one. Why invest in mobile home parks? Well, mobile home parks historically are the most stable asset class that you can own in a depression. So in 08, 09, if you go back and you look, mobile home parks actually went up in occupancy, down in vacancy, and up in rents. And it was just, they did amazing across the board. And next to a cardboard box is basically the cheapest way to live. And I would say one of the things that there's different ways you can slice it. There's so many different ways to make money on a mobile home park. You can own the land and just the land, not own the trailers, or you can own the land and the trailers and you can put storage on it. Some of them have laundromats and things of that nature. So there's a lot of different ways that you can produce income out of it. And I would say one of the stigmas associated with it is that you're a slumlord, right? Well, I have seen some that definitely meet that category. Do not get me wrong. But I have been in some that are very nice, well maintained. They really take care of their trailers, and like they really vet their tenants, and they get good tenants that are going to be in there. And there's quite the wide range. But one of the interesting things about mobile home parks is, now this is probably a couple years old now, but there's only on average, as of, I want to say about 2024, 2023, there was only in the average of about 1,000 mobile home parks in the entire United States that would change hands in a year. So they're not as widely sold. And the reason being is because they absolutely produce money. It's just, you can get money out of them and they produce. And there's only about, I want to say, and trying to remember where I got this, but I think Green Street Advisors is a website that I looked up statistics and things like that about mobile home parks. And there's only about 60, I want to say about 60,000 mobile home parks in the entire US, and 200 of them are dissolved every year just through not being maintained, just looking very poor for the municipality where it's located. And only about 4% of that 60,000 are actually professionally owned, and the rest of them are mom and pop. So if you think about it, the way that I look at mobile home parks is a lot of them are paid off. They're mom and pop owned, and a lot of times that's their retirement. So if you offer owner finance deals and things like that, you could very likely get one if you find out what your seller is potentially wanting. Now, there's a lot of nuances in actually how to run one. Are you going to manage it yourself? Are you going to hire your management out? How do you handle the evictions? Because these are titles. They're more like a vehicle for everybody who's not maybe new to this space. There's actual vehicle titles associated with these things because they can be moved. Why they're underneath a title like that, I really couldn't tell you, besides the fact that you can put an axle under them. But it's a really, really interesting one as far as an asset class.
So there's some good reasons as to why to own mobile home parks. What are some of the mistakes or misunderstandings that someone coming into it new would learn about? And what were some of your surprises?
Oh man, several. So there's a difference between when you look at how banks value them. Banks actually value them based on what the lot rent is. And a lot of people will value them based on lot and trailer rent combined, which is not an accurate number for your net operating income of the park. So when let's say you have $250 and you have two trailers, for really easy math, well, your net income is $500. But if each trailer rents for $750, a lot of people will think that, well, my net operating income is $2,000. What they don't realize is trailers depreciate at an incredibly fast rate. And if you have a trailer that was made in the 90s, well, guess what? They're not very valuable. You'll have people list them, and you can go on Facebook right now and you can find them for 40 grand to 5 grand. It's quite the spread. But they're not super valuable because they really depreciate over about, I think it's about 15 years. But once it's reached its 30-year lifespan, it's losing a lot of value and it's not worth very much. So there's one. And then secondly, oh man, that thought just left me. But I have so many things running through my head with mobile home parks. I really need to put everything in a checklist. But that was the most surprising one when I bought mine, is I didn't understand how the valuation worked. Fortunately for me, I was able to buy it, and I used private money, buy it, and was able to increase the rents because the rents were dramatically under rented. I think the whole park was bringing in $905 a month for 8 trailers and a duplex. It was it was unbelievably cheap. And so I ended up raising rents and things like that, and being able to do a refi out of my private money into a commercial loan. And it's been very stable ever since, but it's been really good. But there's a lot of nuance involved with what will the municipality allow? What's your standoffs from roads? What's your standoff between trailers? Because they go up like a tinderbox if they ever catch fire. And what you can and cannot do, because you'll go one county, they'll allow you to do this thing, and you go to the next county and you can't do anything that you could do in the other one. And if you don't do your research and you're finding out, you might be in a little bit of a pickle where you're trying to solve a problem that you really should have found out before.
Well, I'm going to share a little bit of trivia with you that you might find interesting, since you are a mobile home park owner. So my dad, Wallace Connor, he's turning 92 years old Christmas Day, 92, and he's still developing a brand new housing development, 350 new houses. But anyway, he and my granddaddy on my mother's side started a mobile home park from scratch in 1959, and that's how they got their start. And then in 1987, my dad and his company, Connor Corporation, was the largest retailer of mobile homes in the nation.
Oh my goodness. Wow. What a time frame to be doing that too. That's like the boom right there.
Yeah. Well, and the majority of the sales were VA financed. Marines, any veteran could buy a manufactured home, trailer, mobile home, they're all the same thing, with zero down.
Yep.
Zero down payment for, for the mobile home financing. But anyway, I wanted to share my background there with you. Let's go back to the private money for a minute.
Absolutely.
As we're getting ready to move into the tail end of the segment here. But how much of raising private money is mindset versus mechanics? And was there a mindset shift that unlocked everything for you?
Wow, that's a good question. I would say a lot of it is mindset. You have to get over that fear of I'm not good enough, or I don't know how to do this thing, or I've never done it before, so it's brand new. Really getting over that fear and just throwing yourself into the deep end. At some point, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to stop dipping your toes in the pool, and you're going to have to just jump. And it takes a lot, I'm not going to lie. When the first time you do it and you go and you are trying to raise private money for something, it can be very nerve-wracking. But much of that is just getting over that initial fear. And then once you do it once, you're like, well, okay, well, I can do this again. And you just rinse and repeat constantly. And it's the same thing, I think, with a lot of growth. And the way that I would recommend people get over that is to get knowledge. So listen to podcasts, read books, join a real estate club that's close to your area. If you don't know where to find one, just do a Google search, or now everybody uses AI for everything, and find one and just plug yourself in, start showing up. Don't worry about feeling dumb for asking a question. You need to ask those questions. And I'll guarantee you, everybody in that room asked a question when they started. So if you think it's not a great question, I encourage you to go ahead and ask it, because people are going to see you're wanting to learn, and they're going to want to help you do this. So yeah. What was your second question there, Jay?
No, it was just mindset. I mean, was there some kind of mindset shift? And your mindset shift was moving from fear to not being fearful. Right. And one thing that I say to new capital raisers is there's no need to have a fear of rejection when you're not asking anybody for anything. I'm not asking people for money. I'm just sharing with them an opportunity. And if it makes sense to them, that's great. I don't have a deal attached to it yet. So it's not like I'm going to lose out. And the fact of the matter is, there's more money than there are deals.
Oh,
There's
100%.
There's more money sitting on the sidelines than there are deals.
One thing I would really say was a motivator for me was I was 27, 28 at the time and married, couple of kids, and I was in law enforcement. And I just looked at it and said, do I want to be in law enforcement for 20 years and retire? And I knew when I went in law enforcement, I wasn't going to retire doing it. So it wasn't holding me there. And I actually sold a nice truck to have the capital to buy the first property. And I remember getting it and basically putting it on the kitchen table and said, hey, babe, here's $22,000. I think it was. We can burn this right now at the kitchen table, or we can go buy a house. One of the two. We can burn it and it won't hurt us. It won't hurt us financially. It's going to be really annoying, but it won't hurt us. And once I had that and said that, my wife's like, well, we reckon we better do the house instead of burning the capital, right? And what's the worst case scenario? You lose that money and you've learned something new. And I think really everybody should go into real estate and into anything, generally speaking, expecting to learn something. Now, whether you learn it via a good decision or a bad decision, you should be learning all the time. I would just try to filter through the bad decisions and talk to people, share what you're trying to do, what you're wanting to do, and learn from other people and seek advice, seek counsel. Coaching, mentors is a great way to help with that.
Absolutely. Well, amazing conversation, William. How can people reach out to you, continue the conversation, and connect with William Parmer?
So I've got an Instagram, just william.c.parmer. And I try to respond if people reach out. The other one is I'm associated with Master Passive Income as a coach. So you got masterpassiveincome.com or Master Passive Income Expert Coaching, and you can find me on there.
Excellent. So those URLs again are www.masterpassiveincome.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, masterpassiveincome.com. William, this has been so powerful. Thank you so much for joining me here on Raising Private Money.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and wish you all the best, and the same to your audience.
Awesome. Here's what I want everyone listening to take away. Raising private money is not about having the perfect pitch or decades of experience. It's about taking action, leading with a servant's heart and integrity, viewing yourself as a teacher, and being willing to have real conversations with real people. And as William just shared, establish and grow that relationship first. William, as you heard on the episode, is living proof that you don't need to be born into money to build wealth. You need clarity, consistency, and the courage to take action. Learn what it is that you're going to be sharing the opportunity, what the program is that you're going to be sharing. If this episode helped you rethink how you approach private money or gave you the confidence to start that first conversation, I want you to do me a favor. Share this episode with another investor who needs to hear it. Subscribe, like. If you're watching on YouTube, click that bell. William, thank you for breaking it down so honestly and sharing what's possible when you commit and you execute. To everyone listening, I'm Jay Conner, and this has been Raising Private Money. Until the next episode, go take action, go raise money, and build the life you want.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.